Hello everybody, this is Miyumyu and welcome back to Hills of Tuscany. Now, I would welcome you back also to FATTORIA RICCI, however, I don't think I can do that just yet. As you have seen the last time we were together, an earthquake of a sizable magnitude just hit Tuscany, and of course, this disaster hit everyone in the county, not just our farmstead. It was absolutely terrifying and horrible. Giada suffered a concussion during the earthquake. I was able to get Giada out just in time before the fire spread to the house. Everything was a blur to me. All I could remember was the front courtyard was on fire and I had to get Giada out of the house before the fire get to the house. Giada said that the last thing she remembered was the ground was moving and she thought it was her becoming lightheaded. When she became conscious later on, we were already at the hospital. Now, I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but according to the investigation by the police and fire department, the fire started from our diesel tank exploding and then it just started spreading to the front courtyard, damaging also the chicken coop, the workshop, and all the way to the sheep pen and the grass field out front. I'm sorry to say that the coop was completely obliterated. Whether all the chickens perished or some got out is not really known to me. Half of the house was taken in by the fire before the fire department was able to come and douse the fire out. So back to Giada and I, we pretty much stayed at the hospital for about 3 days after the disaster. I was alright, just a bit shaken up, and Giada turned out fine too physically. She was monitored for the concussion during those 3 days because of her advanced age, but thankfully she came out alright. Now, emotionally though, Giada was in pieces after we were told of what happened to the farm. I think she wept for the better part of our hospital stay. It was like she was weeping for Lorenzo's passing all over again, poor lady. I, on the other hand, was totally clueless on how to proceed from there. My parents were horrified of hearing what happened in the news, but they soon calmed down when I called them to tell them I was fine. They want me to come home, of course, but I told them that Giada needs me more than ever now and I want to stay. They were very hesitant, but they understood my decision. When we were discharged, Belinda, one of our farm neighbors, was kind enough to take us in, at least until we can decide what to do with the farm. About a week after the incident, Giada slowly calmed down and then she started telling me something cryptic. She told me that Lorenzo was probably angry because she was too stubborn on letting him go, that maybe the farm burning was his way of telling Giada to let go of the past and move on and start anew. I was not sure if it's the concussion that is making her say these things. I mean, how is burning half of FATTORIA RICCI and then raising the other half by earthquake going to help the farm? It was definitely baffling. Giada saw me one time scanning the phone app for deals in the vehicle shop when I came upon a great deal on a windrower. I told her, well, so much for the deal, not like we can use this anymore. And she said, why not? We will use it, just get it. She didn't make sense. We don't have a farm anymore. I think a windrower is the last thing we need. But she insisted. When I didn't want to get it, she took my phone from me and went on and get the windrower without second thoughts. I was somewhat angry. I mean, we needed all the money we can to figure out how to get back on our feet, and here, she just made me spend 8,500 euros. Then she said cryptically again, Lorenzo will provide, you'll see. I still didn't understand her. I think the earthquake really did a number on her head. That and the trauma of losing the farm to the earthquake and fire. So the month of May rolled by and I would go back and forth from Belinda's farm to FATTORIA RICCI to see how the cleanup goes. Upon checking on the bills, I noticed that I am still getting billed for the lease of the Dalbo roller. So I called up the vehicle workshop and told them they can pick the roller up. It was in a very bad condition due to the fire, but thankfully I have insurance on it when I leased it, so we didn't have to pay anything for the damages incurred. Phew! That was a relief. I also visited Field 4 and I was happy to see that at least the crops are growing well. Thank goodness we weeded the field before all these happened. At least we don't have to do much for the field in the way of maintenance. I just wish I could fertilize it for the second time, but that's not currently possible due to the state of things. I took a walk also to field 15 and wow! The grass is already so lush and tall, it's begging to be mowed. But there's no point in doing that since we don't even have a farm to make silage on, so it just stays on the ground for now. It was already the third week of June when Giada finally told me what is behind her words about Lorenzo providing. Apparently, Lorenzo had the farm insured against disasters, and he strictly told Giada before he passed to keep up with the insurance no matter what happens, even if they incur debt doing so. And Giada did. When Giada told me of this, the whole process was already underway and we were just waiting now for the insurance money to come and we can begin rebuilding Fattoria Ricci. I was so happy, to say the least. Giada and I were both in tears of joy. Lorenzo saved us yet again. Knowing we are rebuilding soon, I visited the fields with renewed spirit. The sorghum was growing well and the grass is ready for whatever comes to it. Also, I started helping with the cleanup too. The machineries on the back courtyard were alright for the most part. The shed tiles and walls fell on them, but the equipment were tough and withstood the shaking. They were somewhat dented, but fine nonetheless. The equipment on the front courtyard, though, were really badly damaged. This included the two smaller tractors. I just had the cleanup crew set the damaged equipment aside. Giada and I will have to decide their fates once the farmstead is sorted out. That said, I'm now always scouting the used machinery sales list for discounted items, but nothing we need really turned out. The used windrower we bought a month ago is being held at the workshop. They were kind enough to hold on to it due to our situation. By the end of June, I was really getting antsy. The cleanup crew was almost done, and the sorghum field was getting more ripe. Mechanic fees went up drastically due to farms needing mechanic help in order to get their machineries up and running. Marco promised to fix and tune up our harvester in time for the upcoming harvest on August, but the big problem was we still are waiting for the insurance money to come in so we can at least build a silo to house the grain. Nothing to do but clean up the farmstead and wait. First week of July came and it started raining in Tuscany. The cleanup continues though, and the occasional visit to the sorghum and grass fields. Things are looking up, but I can't help but get anxious. Giada made phone calls too. We start making plan B. If we can't get a silo by harvest time, we will just have to sell the grains right away. Unfortunately, no silage making for me until we get a bunker silo as well. I had to stop myself from checking the used machinery sales list because there's no point shopping for a mower right now. So it was the second week of July when things finally turned for the better. Giada received the insurance money and we almost fell backwards when we saw the amount. It was 1.2 million euros. Can I say that we celebrated that day? Because we sure did. We threw a little party at Belinda's house to thank her for keeping us fed and sheltered during the aftermath of the earthquake. The wine flowed that evening. After the celebration, the first thing that Giada did was contact the local contractor and get the house sorted out. We love Belinda, and we are forever grateful to her kindness for letting us stay with her, but it was now time to come home. The house remodeling cost us about 65,000 euros. After the house, I asked Giada if we can have a silo built right away, so we are ready for the upcoming harvest. She totally agreed with me, so the silo that she wanted costed about 117,000 euros. After the silo, Giada pretty much commandeered the decision making on what needs to be built and how it would be built. I did not get in her way, of course. She looked like a woman on a mission. Giada was not pulling any punches at all. It was very good to see her in such fighting spirits again. She had them rebuild the front courtyard with some minor modification. She kept in mind how it was not convenient for the workshop to be there, so the workshop was not rebuilt there. All in all the sheds there costed us about 176,000 euros. Then Giada said that since we are making cows our main operation in the farm, how about we build the cow shed right in the front? So she took out the burnt grass field from the front and had the contractors build a big cow shed there, along with a slurry pit and a bunker silo. It costed around 125,000 euros. Oh boy, it looks so good. I can't wait to get started. I can finally make silage. The next project she tackled was the sheep pen. Now, since the cow shed is now built in the front, Giada decided to place the sheep pen where the pig pen used to be. The sheep pen came up to 45,000 euros. She said she never liked how the pigs smelled anyway. At least now the visitors to the farm will see the sheep first instead of the stinking pigs. But even though she doesn't like the smell of pigs, Giada still deemed them a necessary source of income for the farm, so she had the contractors build a pigsty, with the back facing the fields and instead of the gate. The pigsty was 45,000 euros, same as the cost of the sheep pen. The next thing she had them build was the workshop. She had it built at the far end of the farm along with the diesel tank next to it. I think I understand her reasoning behind this. It's to make sure the tank is far away from the house and main courtyard as possible, just in case another earthquake comes again. It was a sound judgment too in my eyes. Building the workshop cost about 18,000 euros and the new diesel tank ate another 15,000 euros. Right across the workshop, she had them place more sheds to replace the back courtyard. I'm not sure how, but it seems like we have more space in the back now than before. The sheds costed about 132,000 euros to be built. I thought that would be it, but Giada asked the contractor for one more project to be built, and this one really surprised me. She heard of a mini biogas plant and she thought this would help the farm be more environmental friendly and hopefully give us more passive income once the animals are in full swing. When the contractor told us it would cost about 135,000 euros, I told Giada that maybe we don't really need it. But she was adamant about getting it, and so she did. I think Giada had forgotten about the chickens, so I reminded her of it and she had one built where the old one used to be. That coop was about 15,000 euros, and since I already know how to take care of chickens, we right away called the animal farm and ordered some chickens to come in. Giada took care of getting some grains for them from the store workshop, and I told her to not order so much since we will have our own stock soon enough. Now, during all these reconstruction, Marco told us in passing that a man from town is slowly selling his farmlands. Apparently, the man was not so lucky when it comes to having his farm insured, and he lost his farmstead completely. So in order to rebuild, he is now forced to sell some of his farmlands. The man's name is Matteo Belli, and he owns the patch of field that abuts just next to our farmstead. Giada contacted him and he said that he is currently listing his land for 87,428 euros and it will go to the first person that wants it. Like a woman possessed, Giada jumped onto the sale and shook hands with Matteo before July was over. And just like that, we now replace our lost field with a bigger one. Giada's words were magic. Lorenzo did provide. I didn't understand it at the time, but now I know where her confidence came from. Thank you, Lorenzo. Your Fattoria Ricci has now been restored.